I guess on my hair, she looked alright. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Why so serious? What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and in today's video, when I tell you I am excited, I am playing with the brand I've never tried before, which is Lethal Cosmetics. And although I've seen their stuff around, nothing really made me pull the trigger and go ahead, take my money and send that over here. And so they did a collab with Theresa Is Dead for the Lethal Is Dead palette. Baby, let me tell you, soon as she dropped it, I had to have it. I got everything. I didn't care what was being released. I didn't care what the prices were. I didn't care if it was my skin tone or even products I didn't like. It could have been strip eyelashes. I would have bought it. It could have been dehydrated liquid lipsticks. I would have bought it. It wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that she said an eyeshadow palette and a colorful one, keep talking. Then she said, we're going to also drop some eyeliners. Colorful shades. No browns, no blacks. Keep talking. Then they said, order them in a bundle, get an extra discount. Swipe my card. So if you all would like to know exactly how I achieved this look, or if you would like to see swatches on someone of my complexion, just make sure you continue to watch. Alright, you guys, first off, let's get into this packaging. It's very simple but straight to the point. It says Lethal Cosmetics / Theresa Is Dead. The palette is called Lethal Is Dead, and this is a 9-pan palette that has a 24-month shelf life. And although this palette does contain a mirror, I didn't want to blind you, but I did want to show you right there. It does says don't look behind you. And this, my dear friends, is what it looks like on the inside. We have 9 different shades. As you can tell, this is not an everyday neutral palette, honey. Theresa was going for the colors. And I wanted to make sure I showed you all what the palette looks like before swatches so that you can see with a brand new shade from Lethal Cosmetics does have that indentation. I want to try to see if I can get closer so you can see that. That is, I believe, their official logo. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a close-up of the gel liners first before I go ahead and show you swatches of everything. Alright, first up, I wanted to show you what the lid looks like. It also has the logo there, so you can tell everything from this brand has a marketing point on it, which I truly enjoy. I'm also not sure if you're going to be able to see that because of the glare, but it also says Lethal Cosmetics across the side of the jar. And each gel liner also has a sticker on the bottom that has the name, the weight, and the shelf life. This one is the blue shade called Spectre. It has 5 grams of product and a 6-month shelf life. And this is what Spectre looks like inside the pot. Next up is the green liner. This one is called Ectoplasm. It only contains 1.6 grams of product, but it does have a 24-month shelf life. And this is what Ectoplasm looks like inside the jar. You can tell that this jar is not quite as full as the first one. And last, we have the gray liner. This one is called Entity. It also contains 1.6 grams of product, but it also contains a 24-month shelf life. This is what Entity looks like on the inside. And although it does look like it may be a little dried on the top, I'm hoping that that's just because it was exposed to air or that's just something it naturally does. But I'm praying that it does not affect the performance of the product. So this is one of the shades I'm definitely going to have to test out in the near future. Alrighty, you guys, first up here is a look of all of the colors. This is from the palette and the liners, and I must tell you, I am immediately impressed by the pigmentation. At first, all I kept thinking is, Theresa is a very fair woman, and I'm sorry, but colors that would suit her are not going to suit me. But this came up a lot darker in person, especially the liners. The liners are what worried me the most because they did look like they were sort of dry, but I promise you, Once you start using them, you see just how smooth and creamy they are. The one that was actually the smoothest was the gray, and that was the one I had the most questions about. But before we go any further, I want to give you a really close-up swatch of everything. The one pro I can say is the pigmentation. The one con I can say is for the shimmery shades, they do seem to be extremely crumbly, so I would recommend putting a glitter adhesive or foiling those underneath it. And here is a close-up view of the swatches. The first 9 are the eyeshadows, the last 3 are the liners. Alright you guys, we are ready to get started, but before we get into things you already know, I'll leave all tools and products in the description bar below. I forgot to mention, during swatches, all the eyeshadows were swatched with my finger just one time over no primer. The liners were used over no primer, but instead of using my finger, because I have nails, honey, I cannot get my fingers into that jar, I had to use the Sigma E55 brush. So that's what did those. And if for any reason you want to remove those, the eyeshadows come off like a breeze with soap. These liners, please use a makeup remover because, honey, I used my nails and was scraping the skin right here, and now it is nice and red and tender. So we're not going to do that no more. But for what we came in here for, Lethal is dead, honey, and I must let y'all know. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm a huge Theresa Is Dead fan, so I'm biased. I knew I was going to buy regardless what she put out, regardless what company it was with. I even did a video last year around Halloween for Alien Slut. You can check that tutorial out right here. But I'm telling you, I did not care what she was going to put out. I was getting it. But we've been talking long enough and I'm ready to see what these shadows is like. So, with no further ado, let's figure out how we're going to get this going. Trying to see with all the mattes, because we got 6 different mattes and I'm not sure how we're going to break all those down. What I think we're going to do is start off with Body Snatch here as a transition shade for the inner half. Then we're going to switch things up and go to Watery Grave on the outside. Be right back. Alright, first thing you want to do is tap your brushes off, because once you put a brush in there, honey, these are some very soft press shadows. So you want to take your time with it. Once again, we're starting off with Body Snatch on the inner half. And we're going to see how she goes in. First thing, I want to let it be known, honey. Congratulations, Theresa. I am so proud of you, honey. You have stuck to being yourself and not switching it up. And now things are paying off, baby. Every brand might not want to work with her. But for the ones that do, they understand that she got supporters and we are loving it. And I am loving the fact that with just one layer of this, it is building and blending. Because when I first started swiping, I'm like, hold on, where's the pigmentation? But you can see, honey, it's right there. It has a nice soft blend to it. I can tell that's a green there. And just to satisfy my curiosity, we're going to go in with one more layer just to see how things build up. But just off that, okay, Theresa. Yep, and she builds up in color intensity, so I am loving this. Come on, Theresa, give it to me. And you're going to diffuse those edges just to make sure you have a nice soft blend. Beautiful. Now I have gone ahead and tapped my brush off and we're going into Watery Grave on the outer half. And I must admit, even though online these came off as some pastel-y light, ain't gonna show up on my skin tone colors. And I must admit, so far they are light, but they are showing up and they are blendable. And I've never tried anything from Lethal Cosmetics, so I am having a wonderful time testing out this formula. I just want to see how easy it's going to be to diffuse those edges. And just like with the last shade, I honestly don't think I need the second layer, but just because I got to satisfy my curiosity and see how she builds, we're going to go in again. And this doesn't look like is offering too much more pigmentation, but you can tell she is building. So honestly, I think that first layer could have did that for me. Baby, look at her. And that's what we have so far, honey. I am loving these shadows. Next, I want to go in and deepen up my crease. So for the inner half, we're going to start off with this shade here, Creature Feature. And then for the outer half, we're going to go into this shade here, Predator. Alrighty, now going in with an even smaller brush. I can tell you, honey, the more dense your brush is, the more kickback you're going to get. But because kickback don't bother me, because I'm going in for that other eye with the rest of it, we're going to be alright. But I'm here to tell you, honey, this is like some ABH shadows, honey. If you don't like soft eyeshadows, you better stay clear. And the pigmentation comes through instantly. Then again, I know this brush is absolutely amazing. So you can see just how fast that blended through. And you can see how we have a little more depth on this eye than we do on that eye. And you already know. Just to see what we can come up with. We're going to go in with one more light layer just to see if she's going to get a little darker. Alrighty, we're starting to look more like a peacock coming through, honey. Yes, I cannot wait. So I'll be right back after I do this on the other side. And now for Predator, honey, we want to make sure, since you're going to be deepening up the outer V, honey, you got to come through. And you can instantly see even on camera. She's coming through darker. I want to try to get her at the lowest part of the eye. And then just go up and slightly diffuse those edges. And because this brush is smaller, it won't let me eliminate my transition shade. And of course, round two, just to see what you can do. And with the second layer, we're going to blend a little bit slower because we want to have more of that color set there. I'm more worried about building up pigment and just keeping those edges diffused. And you can see this side, which we've added depth and everything to, compared to this side. Be right back. Now, because I know I'm cutting my crease, we need some glitter adhesive. Honey, I'm cutting my crease real high because we got 3 different shimmer shades. And I want to make sure I got room to pack it on and see just how full this stuff gonna get. During swatches, they was real flaky, which lets me know once they on the eye, they either gonna be patchy and fall off all over the place, or they're going to be extremely high shine and just be shining like a disco ball. And I am praying for number 2 because these mattes have already exceeded my expectation. Like, when you told me I was getting shades that Theresa was going to like, all I knew was they was going to be too light for me. But baby, so far, so good. Just want to make sure I don't skip an area. And we're not going to cut in front of the eyelid, but we are going to cut pretty high. And I'll be right back. For our lids, I want something nice and bright. So for the inner half, I'm going to go with this shade here, Straight to VHS. And on the outer half, I'm going to go into this shade here, Spellbound. But first, I want to go back into this shade here, Predator, and deepen up my outer V. Because I just cut my crease, I may have removed some of that product. So we're going to take the same brush and just slightly pack that on right there. Alright, now I have this first shade Straight to VHS, and I must admit, this shade is acting just as crumbly as it was when I was trying to swatch it, honey. I have fallout everywhere. But the shade is beautiful, and because it acted this way with a brush, I want to try on the other side with a silicone applicator and see if she's going to give me some slightly better results, because that there was, ooh, no ma'am. Alright, and just by picking it up, it already has me believing that this is going to work so much better with a silicone applicator. So let's go ahead and see. And yep, if you want the most pigmentation out of that shade, if you want the least amount of fallout, you can use your finger. I'm not a big fan of using my finger with the eyes if I don't have to, because I have nails. But you can just look and see it's more fallout on this side, which I use the brush, than it is on this side, and this side is shining so much brighter. So I'm gonna go back. I'll be right back after I do both sides with the silicone applicator. And because I had so many issues using the brush, we're gonna stick to the silicone applicator. We're just gonna flip it to the other side and go into the shade Spellbound. And now we're gonna take this side of it and swipe it over. And yep, she's giving me very little fallout, but extreme color payoff. She's not as crumbly or as vibrant as the green shade. So to me, the green reflects a little more light because it has more texture, but this purple shade is much more smoother, much more finely milled. And I think we'll probably go on a lot easier. All right, be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm really enjoying what we got going on so far. Not sure it's much more we could do to the top. So what I'm gonna do is cut away, finish off the face, and when I come back, I'll show you how we're gonna finish off the lower lash line. All right, you guys, I am back, and it feels like I've done so much off camera. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get back into it because I got some important business to get into. But first, got to finish this. And normally I'd be trying to use things that are like full-time products, so if you all want to recreate the look, you can. But I had to realize, one, the eyeshadow palette and the liners that I'm using today, all limited edition, all sold out. So I'm like, Torrence, go ahead and plan some of your limited edition sold out stuff that you already got. So for blush today, I'm wearing the MAC Extra Dimension Skin Finish Blush in the shade Look, Don't Touch. I believe this was from either the Cherry Blossom or the Japanese Blossom or something like that collection. But I bought this blush simply for the compact, but the color is absolutely beautiful. As you can see here, I'm able to build it up without it being too loud on the skin. So she's a favorite now. I have, I think, at least 5-6 other Extra Dimension blushes. Absolutely love them. And I was like, you know what, Torrence, since you already playing with MAC and Extra Dimension, go ahead and keep it going. So for highlighter today, I'm wearing the Opalescent Face Powder in the shade Happily Go Dazzling. I, first off, love this compact again. That's what got me, is the packaging. But inside, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a highlighter. I think you can use it whatever you want. They say Opalescent Face Powder, so if you want to use it as a shimmery face powder or as a highlighter, you can go ahead. It's just enough to give the skin a glow, but not so much to have it beaming. And it's just something I wanted to pull out because I don't use too often. On the lips, I am wearing just their permanent cork liner. You can get this any time of the year. But for the lipstick, once again, packaging caught me. I believe this was from their summer collection, either of this year or last year. But I'm wearing a luster lipstick in the shade Set to Sizzle. Nice little cute little lipstick. My very first time wearing it today. So I figured I'd go ahead and see what she is all about. And on top in the center, I did go in with the matching gloss. This one is called Summer Cromance. And I think she's probably even more beautiful than the lipstick. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we keep that going. Trying to see, for mascara, I did switch things up because I'm like, I need something big, bold, and loud. So I am wearing my favorite mascara, the Lancome Monsieur Big. This is a sample that I'm trying to go through. So it's like, Torrence, what else can we do? Oh, one last thing. Because there are 3 liners that come with this set. The blue liner Spectre I am wearing on the lower lash line. I did do that off camera. It wasn't until I started using it that I realized, wait, Torrence, you wanted to show the liners in person, but that blue went on extremely opaque, no issues, no running. This one eye did start to water, but I think it was just because I was moving too slow, but the color never bled or anything. So let's go ahead and finish up on the eyes. I believe we have how many shades we still have never used? 1, 2, 3, so let's go ahead and get into it. To finish off the lower lash line, we want to go in with 2 pencil brushes. First, we're going to go into this shade here, the Final Girl, with a larger pencil brush. Then, we're going to deepen things up with a smaller pencil brush in this shade here, Vengeful Spirit. Alrighty, honey. And because we don't got nothing going on the lower lash line, we're going to smoke her out there. Get her popping. And just like all these other matte shades, honey, she is powdery, so you want to knock your brush off and work slowly. But she's still pigmented because this one dip was able to get me all the way across the lash line, honey. Want to make sure we ain't got no harsh lines. And I want to go in one more time just because I really want to see what kind of pigmentation she gonna give if she builds. And going over this a second time, I can assure you she does build. Working my way back the other way gave me the option to see if that color was going to get darker in the front than it was in the back since we started in the back. And I think, yeah, on camera you should be able to see that this side has that red just smoked out as that light color compared to this side that has none. Alright, now we got our smaller pencil brush, and I already know this is going to be beautiful because I love deepening up some colors. And I know y'all can see that that got deeper right there. I ain't even have to ask no questions. She came straight through and deepened up that lower lash line for me. I know y'all can see that. Baby, you can see the depth under here. It looked like I added extra liner on this side compared to this side. So I got to hurry up. I'll be right back. Now that we used 8 of the 9 shades, we only have 1 left. That's this shade here, Ancient Evil, and we're going to use that to highlight our inner corner and our brow bone. And I'm not going to lie to you all, this shade does have me a little worried because everywhere else we use shimmery shades, we did put a glitter glue down. So to go in with this one without one has me a little afraid, but baby, she beaming. She getting the job done. So I guess because we're using this small brush, she's giving it to us. And I'm a little worried that this may be a little too opaque for the brows. So we're gonna go in very slow and sweep extremely fast to try to leave the smallest trail of pigment behind. And personally, I would not use this again as a brow bone highlight just because it does have some reflective particles in it that's showing up and taking away from my sheen. But you live and you learn. This is the first time because she is pretty. She's just not what I would normally go for. And now I'm sitting back looking like, okay, Torrence, we got all of the eyes done. Still didn't use the 2 liners. We have this blue one, Spectre, on, and that's good, but now we have to figure out where we want to put this gray one, Entity, and this green one, Ectoplasm. So what I think I'm going to do first is take the green one, Ectoplasm, and we're going to scrape some product out. I'm not a big fan of double dipping, so I'm going to take me just a little metal scooper here. This one is from MAC. And I'm going to just scoop me a tiny bit of this up and out and put it on the back of my hand. I'm using the MAC 210 brush. You can use any liner brush that you have. I just want something that's going to make a very small thin line. Alright, now we're going to go in close, and what I want to do is just trace the outline of my eyeshadow right here in the front. I'm going to go right around the outer edge of that shadow and just put this green line there. This is going to dry matte, so I want it to be rather thick so it can be seen. If it were shimmery, we could go in a little lighter. And I'm not worried about it being perfect, sis. Okay, and I'm not sure if you could tell, but on this side here, the line looks just a little more crisp than it does on that side. So I'll be right back. And now that we've done that, I want to take the gray one here, Entity, and we're going to use the other side of this scraper and do the same thing in a different area. We want to make sure we take the cap off. Scrape some product out using the other end and put it on the back of your hand. Trust me, honey, with products that's liquid and going near the eye, you want to try to reduce double dipping as much as possible. I guess if it's your own product, you could go ahead and do it, but because I done got into the habit of doing other people's makeup, I'm used to just trying my very best to keep everything clean and sanitized. But I need a different brush this time because I want to try something a little different. So this time we're going to go in with an angled liner brush because that other one is dirty and covered in green color. And something tells me I am going to try my best to regret not messing this up. But I want to come over and try to connect those lines because this gray look like it'll help that one peak right there. Oh yeah, it's definitely helping that line look a little bit sharper than what he was. Oh yeah, honey, my what's the name is looking real sharp and real high. I am loving that. I am loving that. I promise you, it's taking everything not to grab a black liner and smoke out the lower lash line, but I'm like, Torrence, this set didn't come with that, so we're gonna go ahead, leave things like they are. So go ahead, grab your sprays, because you know I'm about to grab mine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy do. All nighter, so things last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Gonna give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. I want to go ahead and give you all the full face view before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you, honey, there was no issues for real. I only came into one issue that I personally feel as if is something that needs to be said. But other than that, Lethal Cosmetics got a new customer. Once again, I'm going to put it out there. I am a huge Theresa Is Dead fan, so my opinion may come off as a little biased. But I've never tried Lethal Cosmetics, and they got a new customer with me because, one, the quality of these shadows is beautiful. First off, let's get into the fact that when I first seen this palette on Theresa's page, I kept looking at it like, Torrence, you already know. A collab is supposed to fit that person, so you can't get upset that a fair-skinned woman picks shadows that fits her complexion. Then I said, you know what? We love and support Theresa too much. We don't care what the colors look like. We gonna buy them. And as you can see, this looks just as deep and vivid and vibrant on my complexion as hers. And I'll make sure I leave her video linked right here above. So that was one. The thing is, just looking at the shadows, all I kept telling myself is these look like they're gonna be dry, powdery, and chalky because they so light. No, they're soft and creamy, and when you put your brush or your finger in there, you will immediately know that. The number one and only issue I have with this palette is the fact that I feel as if these two shimmer shades, this top one here, Straight to VHS and Spellbound, must either be foiled or put over a tacky base in order to get the best out of them. When I did my swatches, I could literally just blow on those shadows and you could get flakes everywhere. With that glitter adhesive down, I got extremely minimal fallout, and then with the shade Ancient Evil, I barely got hardly to none. I don't see any there, but I don't know what that shade acts like all across the lid like the other two. But as far as these mattes, they build, they blend, they don't give you any issues. The shimmers, they go straight on. Like I said, just with swatching and everything, it's just that if you do not wet those shimmers or put a tacky base underneath them, I personally believe you're going to be chasing these sparkles all over the place. They're going to be all underneath the eye, all over your chin, everywhere. That's not going to be cute. The funny thing is, I'm someone who could easily wear my makeup 5-6 days a week and wear shadow at least 5 of those days. Eyeliners, I couldn't care about. Who cares? Now, I personally do collect eyeliners, but the 3 brands I tend to like is Inglot, MAC Cosmetics, and Melt Cosmetics. Those tend to be the only 3. Everybody else, ain't no point. I already know their formula is amazing. I know their shade range is amazing. These 3 here, I'm here to let you know, I'm a new fan. Now, I personally did not do a wing liner because, in my opinion, you can spend hours doing a beautiful look, and then in 2 minutes, a wing liner could come in and take over it. So I wasn't gonna let it do that. So I let it go right there on the lower lash line and then do the arch there. And then in the future, if I want to do a regular wing liner, I can. But when I tell you, I just knew these liners were dry. They were gonna be chalky. One of them looked dry, especially this gray one, Entity. He was the smoothest and creamiest one of them all. And it's like, Torrence, you never cared for gel liners, but to know I got a bundle deal on this price, to know these are colors I do not have. I don't have colors like this. The only other blue gel liner I have is this one here called Eros Blue from MAC. And as you can see, never even been used. But this is a whole nother shade of blue. Actually, let me stop lying. I got 2 from Melt Cosmetics from the Blueprint stack. But once again, something I never been used, and those are shimmery. All my other ones tend to be black ones. You got black from Black Track from MAC. You got number 77 from Inglot. So to get me a gray, something I don't have, to get me a green, a color that I love, and the only green ones I have is from Melt Cosmetics, it's like a new brand, an amazing formula, shades you don't have in your collection, and you get to support somebody. It's amazing. So me personally, if you're asking, Torrence, is the eyeshadow palette worth it? Yes. Once again, make sure you got your glitter adhesive. Are the gel liners worth it? Absolutely. If you could only get one thing from this collection, whether it be the liners or the palette, just based off first impressions, because I can't tell you nothing about longevity, I'ma say, just ranking them from best to worst, the best product is going to be your gray liner Entity. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be the blue one, Spectre. Even though greens are my favorites, this blue was so thick, so creamy, so opaque, it gave me no issues. And even when my eyes start watering up, it did not budge. So Spectre goes to number 2. Number 3, we're going to go with Ectoplasm. And then in 4th place, we're going to put the eyeshadow palette. But I have it all. I'm glad I have it all. I hope you all truly enjoyed this video. Please let me know if the swatches in my video came off looking a little different than the swatches that you saw online. Because although we love our brands, we know sometimes they edit it and they light it be a little different. So I just want any of you to know that if you are around my complexion, you can see these shadows will show up and they will be beautiful on your eyes. And it's nothing else to talk about, honey, because I ain't gonna lie to you. This stuff could have been dead trash. 1, I still would have did the video. 2, I still would have kept it just to support my girl Theresa. But to know that this stuff is good, I think what I'm about to do is go ahead and build me a custom palette from Lethal Cosmetics, because they have it where these shadows are removable and you can create your own custom color stories. And I'm sitting back looking like, Torrence, imagine going in and getting some even deeper colors to help accentuate this palette, coming up with your own green and black color story. And I'm sitting back thinking like, and you can see if they got a black liner or some other green ones to go with that. So now I'm like, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So once again, I have nothing else to say, so I hope you all truly did enjoy this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you also check out Theresa's video, which I'll make sure I'll leave link below and above, because her channel is absolutely amazing. But if you are someone who's not a big fan of cussing, don't go over there, honey. Y'all think I got a potty mouth, honey. Baby girl can go ahead and shut me down. But with nothing else, because I keep sitting back here looking at this like, you are so pretty to be a limited edition collection, honey. But I've been rambling for too long, so with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.